Well, let's get to know the new general manager of the New York Giants, Joe Schoen. Look at that youngster with the Carolina Panthers as a scout, 2001, 2007, chopping it up with Peyton Manning over at Dolphins camp, assistant general manager with the Buffalo Bills, and now the new general manager of the New York Football Giants. And he joins us here in the booth right now in Foxborough. It's been a fun journey along the way. Talk about what it's like his first game as a general manager and what you've seen so far.
Yeah, really, you come out here and, you know, some of the guys we've been playing against each other, so you want to see them against different competition. And really the biggest thing for me was trying to get out injury-free, really, is what I wanted. But looks like we may have one or two already. But seeing some of these young players perform is exciting. You know, some of the guys you drafted and, you know, some of the guys that were undrafted stepping up and making plays.
Well, the one thing I noticed about the guys you drafted, Joe, especially your top three guys, they move like professional football players already. It doesn't seem like the games or the practices are too big for them, especially with Wan'dale Robinson. Boy, he just seems like he just gets out there and just plays football.
Personal foul.
Yeah, absolutely. Two of those players being from the SEC, Wan'dale and Evan Neal, and then, you know, with Thibodeau playing out west. So, yeah, Wan'dale's been a pleasant addition to the roster. You know, again, playing the position he's playing, he's got to be smart. He's got to learn a lot, you know, in order to move him around and put him in position to make plays, which we'll do.
Nice return there by Sean Corbin, who has done some nice things in this football game. The rookie out of Florida State, plus a face mask penalty. So the Giants will start this drive at their own 49-yard line. Davis Webb in at quarterback here in quarter number 3. Good hard running by Antonio Williams, and he has a Giants first down. Speaking of the running game, Joe, Coach Dable had mentioned us this morning about running downhill. We saw that with Saquon Barkley. We've seen that with Brightwell. We saw it with Corbin, and now we see it with Williams.
Yeah, it's definitely something we want to establish again. And we want to see these running backs. You know, it's a good competition for some of the backup guys, and it's a good opportunity for them to make some plays. And it's been an emphasis during training camp, you know, trying to develop the physicality up front on both sides of the ball while also evaluating these running backs.
Joe, when you're looking at like this part of the roster, are those the type of plays that jump out at you? You got, you know, a lot of running backs in camp, and they don't get a chance to really show what they do, and you see plays like that. Are those the things that'll jump out and say maybe we should take a closer look? And how is he on special teams?
Absolutely, especially for running backs, because you know, a lot of our practices we're thudding, we're not trying to hurt each other or take each other to the ground. So other than the scrimmage the other night, we really haven't got to see the running backs run, you know, where they're going to get tackled and be physical.
Williams picks up a couple. Obviously, you've done a lot of work on this offensive line with the signing of Mark Lewinsky, bringing in John Feliciano. Lemieux is back from his injury. He's looked good, although he had a little toe injury tonight. And then Evan Neal and Andrew Thomas. What about the depth? What are you looking for out of that group?
Yeah, I'm hoping to keep the depth. After, you know, we'll see. I'm not sure what happened with Lemieux exactly. And then Marcus McKeithen on Friday at the scrimmage, you know, tore his ACL. So, yeah, definitely it's important. There's going to be roster attrition throughout the season. Injuries are going to occur, so it's important to make sure that you have good depth, you know, at all positions, really. So, you know, you can plug and play the next man up mentality and, you know, still be able to function and be competitive.
Now, Joe, as these camps go along, this process isn't over for you either. So when you talk about adding depth, you will see some players from some other teams that become free too as well, right?
Absolutely. You know, there's another game tonight. There's games on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So personnel staff will be really busy the next 3 weeks. You know, 1,300 players will be available that aren't currently available when the, you know, by the time the final cuts come in. So we'll be scouring all the rosters throughout the league and looking to upgrade, you know, anybody we can at any position.
Joe and Brian Dable trying to bring the Giants back to the postseason and eventually add a Lombardi trophy. A guy that won 2 Lombardi trophies had some very high praise for Joe Schoen. Hall of Famer Bill Parcells. I was impressed with Joe because he was a sharp guy, serious personnel man, very good evaluator, very conscientious. What about your time with Bill Parcells in Miami?
Coach Parcells was unbelievable. I could see why he was such a great coach. He was very good at the personnel too. He knew the entire league. He wasn't just a coach, and he would coach the personnel staff. There's a lot of times he would coach me up on why the way we were thinking, my train of thought, why we would take a certain position over another position. So, from A to Z, he was amazing to be around in terms of coaching up a young personnel, aspiring GM. He was very integral in my development, my professional career.
Missed opportunity there for Keelan Doss. Go ahead, Carl.
I spoke with Coach Parcells this morning. He calls me at 8:30. He says, "You up, Banksy? What do you like about this team?"
Yeah, again, it's some of the young players that we added. I'm excited about, but not just the young players that were added. There's some core pieces that were here before me. Leonard Williams, Dexter, Xavier McKinney, Saquon Barkley, Andrew Thomas. Like, there's some core pieces in place to build around, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see how we can compete this year. And again, like I said, the roster won't be done throughout the season. We'll continue to look to add in all areas.
Alex Bachman with the catch. There's a flag on the play. Looked like he had enough for the first down, but as we talked about in the first half.
Face mask. Defense, number 33. That penalty, of course, half this is the goal from the end of the run. First down.
Joe, the NFL is evolved offensively. And, we look at certain positions and we think, a lot of people think the tradition of linebacker, the tradition of tight end, but really the linebacker has evolved just by way of offensive formation into he may be a safety. And the tight end may not fit within certain offensive schemes all the time on the field.
Absolutely.
So when you guys are evaluating that, it's not a matter of size per se at linebacker or size at tight end if that's not what your system calls for.
Yeah, those two positions in particular, because if you've got an athletic pass-catching tight end, well, defensively they got to be able to match up against that athletic pass tight end. And the old school, two-down, B-gap to B-gap Mike linebackers are hard to find, or linebackers that can only defend the run, because you have to be able to match up versus those athletic pass-catching tight ends. So, yeah, the game is definitely evolving as the pass game evolves and gets more complex. Both of those positions are key, but it is changing for sure.
Really nice series for Antonio Williams, who slams it in for the Giants touchdown to give the Giants the lead. So nice job by the offensive line up front, clearing the path, and that's got to be a nice sight for you to see some of the backups move at that point of attack, because we talked about the packages and the way the game has evolved over the years. But if you don't win at that point of attack, you got no shot.
Absolutely. Both sides of the ball. That's something we're trying to create here. Toughness and physicality on both sides of the ball. We've been trying to do it throughout camp, and again, continue that this evening.
Just waiting on the replay. We're going to get the extra point. I guess one of the areas that you're going to be looking at closely is secondary depth. Obviously, you had to make the hard decision with Bradbury and the salary cap, trying to find out who wins that job opposite of Dory.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Corner, safety, linebacker. Again, I think, building good depth, again, because of the injuries that are inevitably going to happen throughout a season will be critical for us. So, secondary will be one of those positions we'll definitely be evaluating.
Giants back up in front, Joe. Thanks for a couple minutes.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Season.
Appreciate it, guys.
Taking a couple minutes to join us. Giants back in front on an Antonio Williams touchdown, 17-14 in the third.